Another great way to use effective questioning in the classroom is to use what we call multiple choice questioning. And lots of the research and reading I've done on this over the last few months and last year really has really shown and really opened my mind to how intelligent multiple choice questioning can be in terms of ascertaining whether students have got something wrong because it's a mistake or it's a misconception. And that's really important for us as teachers, because if we, if students get something wrong, we need to know why they've got something wrong. Because if it's a mistake, we're hoping that actually with some more teaching or with less kind of mental fatigue, that they may get it right next time. If it's just a simple error or they've forgotten something. Unfortunately, if it's a misconception, then they're always going to get that question wrong if they have a deep-seated belief about why that answer is that. And unless we know that, then that's very, very difficult for us to kind of change, because if it's a misconception, as teachers, we've got to recode that in the student. We've got to rewrite that, and kind of hardwire that answer into them, because otherwise they're always going to get that question wrong until that misconception has been corrected in them. Normal questioning then, without multiple choice, doesn't really tell us whether they've got it wrong. A student gets something wrong, why? How do we know why they've got it wrong? Multiple choice questioning can really do that really well, and that's really interesting. Now, previously as a teacher, earlier in my career, I used to think multiple choice questioning was kind of lazy teaching because students could guess things and get it right. But what I didn't really know, and what I didn't really know until recently, is how intelligently we need to create those multiple choice answers in order to tell us more than one thing. So what I mean by that is, we might have a question that has 3 or 4 answers, possible answers. One of them would, let's say, option A would be the right answer. Option B would be a general mistake, so something that's just an error, a mistake. If it's a maths one, it could be an obvious kind of addition or multiplication kind of error. And then C and D would be common misconceptions that students have around that kind of subject matter. And as teachers, we know every year the common misconceptions that students have on the topics that we teach. So for instance, if I give a maths example, it could be that we are doing about angles on a straight line that we know add up to 180. But actually, one of the misconceptions that could come through every year is that students think that it adds up to 360. So the answer C could be, if you added up those two things, it could be what would get you to 360. So you're then starting to work out that all the students that that are kind of holding up 3 for number C, or for answer C, should I say, they've got a misconception that needs to be rewritten, because actually they still think that angles on a straight line add up to 360 degrees. So it's really important then, not just that they got it wrong, but actually you need to do a little bit of work with those 3 or 4 students or that group of students to actually kind of recode the fact that what the rule is there. If it's just a mental error and they've got B because they've done some addition issues, you're hoping they would get it right next time. So multiple choice questioning can be really, really intelligently used. So it's not just about constructing a question with 1 right answer and 3 random wrong answers. The skill is in what answers am I going to put in there that are going to tell me something about the learning and the misconceptions that some students might have, that allows me then to change my teaching, to recode those things in those certain students. So it can be a real game changer in the classroom if we do it correctly. And again, if you use your whole class response systems, so if you've got 1, 2, 3, and 4, students can answer those just by kind of, with their fingers. They can write on their whiteboards, they can hold it round, they can do all these type of things. So it starts to actually employ 2 or 3 strategies together that gets everyone involved. You can ascertain what everyone in the room knows, but not only do you understand what they know, you understand what they don't know, and more importantly, why they don't know it. So is it a misconception or is it just a mistake? And that's the really key intelligent use of this to enable us to change our teaching and be far better responsive teachers because of that.